I had an athlete reach out to me and ask me, how do I stay positive and not get down on myself after I make a mistake? Now, getting down on yourself after you make a mistake is so easy to do because when you're out there playing a game, you want to play your best. And when you make a mistake, this can be embarrassing, it can be frustrating, and you can even feel like you're letting your team down, or you're letting your coaches down, your parents down, or you're just letting yourself down. So we know that the natural reactions to making a mistake are going to be more negative. It's going to be a very, very natural thing to do. So whenever we're looking at how to stay more positive and not get down on yourself after you make a mistake, there are a couple different places we need to look. And the first one is going to be how you're reacting to your natural reaction. Now, what I mean by that is when you feel yourself getting frustrated or getting down on yourself, you have two choices. You either allow yourself to kind of follow along with those feelings and spiral down into that feeling of frustration and disappointment, or you recognize those feelings and you begin working on changing the way you're looking at that mistake and thinking in a more positive way. So that's the first step to this. That's the first step to staying more positive, is you need to make sure that you are focusing on how you're reacting to your natural reactions. To help with this, we can come up with some simple tools and things that you can use in the moment. One of the tools is going to be a thought-stopping phrase, where you recognize that, okay, I'm feeling frustrated right now. All right, tell myself I got to let that go. Take a few deep breaths, calm myself down. Let me refocus onto the next play. Now, this next part is going to depend upon what sport you play, because another part of helping yourself react better to those natural reactions is having something physical to do once you make a mistake. Now, the reason that I say this is going to differ based on your sport is because if you are playing basketball or soccer, for example, if you turn the ball over, you have something very physical you can do in that you're going to chase down that ball. You're going to go play hard defense. So all you focus on after that mistake is playing hard defense, going and getting that ball back. So you start to use that frustration as motivation. But if you're playing a sport like baseball or softball, or honestly even tennis, for example, or golf, then you have more time to think, and it's not that you're going to be able to sprint down the court or the field and get yourself re-engaged in the play. So here we have to think about a post-shot routine or a post-play routine where you can begin refocusing yourself. Maybe it has to do with your body language. Maybe it has to do with a little bit of an evaluation process. But the first step to reacting to your reactions better is to apply a thought-stopping phrase. No matter what sport you play, that's going to help because it's where you're starting to tell yourself, I need to let that go, and you're beginning to refocus. But if you're playing a sport where you have time, I recommend you include a post-shot or a post-play routine. An example for a golfer would be you think about what you did well for that hole or that shot, and then you think, okay, what adjustments do I need to make? And then you begin refocusing onto your pre-shot routine for the next shot. Same thing if you're a baseball player, you're coming out of an at-bat, or a softball player too, you're coming off of an at-bat, you made a mistake, you're getting down on yourself, you use your thought-stopping phrase, then you start to evaluate the at-bat productively, you tell yourself to let it go, move on, and let's go focus on playing some defense. If you're playing a sport like basketball or soccer, you're going to use this idea of re-engaging in the play as the way that you can get back into the rhythm of the game and start to move on from this mistake. The reason that I always like to start with reacting to your reactions better is that we don't want to try to convince ourselves that we need to feel super positive after a mistake is made. That's just not going to happen. It's not very realistic. Mistakes are frustrating. But it's not that you want to react in a positive way after the mistake. You want to react in a productive way after the mistake. You don't want one mistake to turn into many more mistakes. You have to make sure that you are responding to the mistake, specifically to your natural reactions to the mistake, in a way that gets you to begin letting go of that mistake, refocusing on the next play so you can make up for the mistake, because that's really what you want. You want to be able to succeed moving forward. Now, the second part of this is going to be more of kind of a long-term approach to controlling the way that you're thinking. So this is where we begin using a tool like a self-talk routine so that you can start building more of just a general positive thought pattern to where when you make a mistake, you aren't going to think as negatively, right? So the first part that I was just going over with the thought-stopping phrase, the post-shot routine, getting yourself re-engaged into the play, that involves, your natural reaction and how you're going to react to that reaction, let's say in a game tomorrow or in a game next week. But you also know that by this time next year, you want to be a lot better at responding to mistakes. You want to be a lot more positive. So when we take that long-term approach, we see that, okay, by this time next year, you could really have a lot different way or just kind of pattern of thinking if you spend some time trying to train yourself to think in a more positive way. So what I recommend is you create a self-talk routine for yourself. Begin rereading some positive and productive statements. And then on a consistent basis, pay attention to your thoughts and really begin practicing and trying to have more of this positive and productive self-talk. It's really a combination of responding to the mistake in the moment, and specifically responding to those natural reactions, combined with this long-term approach of let's create more of just a general positive mental state and positive thought pattern so that you aren't so negative when it comes to making these mistakes in the first place. Now, in addition to staying positive after mistakes, we also want to make sure we are using mistakes in a productive way. So what I've done right here is I've linked another video that goes into detail on how you can really shift the way you are looking at mistakes as an athlete. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put out new videos each week on sports psychology and mental training.